When people think about where ducks come from, most automatically think of the prairies. However, North America's boreal forest, which spans some 1.5 billion acres from Alaska to Newfoundland, has an average breeding season population almost on par with the U.S. and Canadian prairies combined. Ducks are in the boreal for good reason. At over 200 million acres, the area of surface water in this region exceeds the size of most countries. This is a great place to be a duck. In the early days of waterfowl management, the boreal forest was considered pristine wilderness. This is no longer true in many areas. While rich in wetlands, the boreal is also rich in natural resources: oil, gas, timber, minerals, rivers to power turbines, and in the south, arable land. The result? This once pristine landscape is being converted or fragmented at a pace that, in some cases, exceeds rates in third world countries. Indeed, the rapidly growing development footprint in the boreal covers over 180 million acres. That's an area larger than the state of Texas. DU believes that this scale and rate of landscape change can reduce the ability of the boreal to sustain waterfowl if not managed properly.
We think the net effect of these changes is a reduction in the number or quality of wetlands and fragmentation of upland habitats. This can reduce the food supply or increase predation. The implication is that there may be fewer birds settling in disturbed areas, and for those that do, they may experience lower survival or productivity.
DU's efforts to help manage this landscape take a multi-scale approach. At a continental scale, DU helps focus the attention of the conservation community. By stressing the importance and threats to the boreal, DU increases action within the North American Waterfowl Management Plan and other conservation initiatives. Within the boreal, DU delivers habitat conservation under two main themes: protected areas and sustainable land use.
Our conservation work within this mostly Crown-owned region focuses on influencing policies. We use both government and corporate policies to obtain protected areas and ensure industrial activities occur in ways that sustains waterfowl habitat. It is a daunting task, and one that would be impossible without the leadership of the Pew Charitable Trust, as well as key partnerships with governments, industries, and Aboriginal communities.
For thousands of years, Aboriginal people have been residents of the boreal, relying on its rivers, wetlands, and lakes for transportation, food, and spirituality.
Playing a significant role in land management, Aboriginal groups are under increasing pressure to balance the economic needs of their communities while protecting the ecosystems that have sustained them for so long. DU has been very fortunate to be invited by many Aboriginal groups to help them find this balance. And in most cases, we've become trusted allies working towards and achieving our shared goals.
DU's conservation efforts are also directed by sound science. DU conducts research to better understand species of concern, identify key waterfowl areas, predict the probability of habitat loss or degradation, target the right landscape changes, and ultimately develop best management practices. DU is proud of its accomplishments in the boreal. Habitat maps have been developed for roughly 1/3 of the region, which will help to identify important waterfowl areas and guide conservation planning. DU is also having a positive influence on land use planning processes and industrial practices, resulting in short or long-term conservation of 70 million acres. While doing so, DU has established a solid reputation as a trusted and balanced advocate for waterfowl habitat in the boreal. But DU's job is far from finished.
Our knowledge of waterfowl biology in the boreal is at least 50 years behind the prairies. One reason is that research here is hindered by the very thing that attracts ducks: many wetlands and a vast remote landscape, which makes studies here very logistically challenging and quite expensive. We are making progress, but there's still a lot of research required to close knowledge gaps.
Our policy work in the boreal has resulted in huge gains, but policy work takes a lot of time and effort. Most of our acre accomplishments are under interim protection, meaning they are temporarily withdrawn from development while government decides whether they will be permanently protected. It can take 3 to 5 years to get to this interim stage. And then DU must continue to garner political will for long-term protection before withdrawal periods run out. As well, many boreal ducks breed outside of protected areas, underscoring the importance of sustainable land use solutions, which can take years to develop. So if we're going to continue to make significant progress in the boreal, we need to be persistent, think long-term, and garner steadfast support from many sources.
Unlike the prairies, DU has an unprecedented opportunity to retain this largely functional landscape. Let's not let it slip away. The boreal forest. It's not just the Great White North, it's the Great Wet North, and it needs our support to help keep it that way.